Hello everyone and welcome. Yes, my name is Arafire and welcome to a special TFNation haul and roundup video. We have just finished, and I hate to say it's finished, but we have just finished TFNation for 2024 at the Hilton Hotel in Birmingham in the UK. And I'll say this straight away, I think that's possibly been the best TFNation that there has ever been. It might not have had the Stan Bush concert from 2018, and it might not have had that euphoric feeling that we got when lockdown was lifted and restrictions were lifted. We could do conventions again around 2022. That was a great release that we could do conventions again. They were great moments as a weekend, as a structure, as a whole, start to finish. I think it's the best one to date. I think the TFNation guys did such a good job, such a jam-packed weekend. I stayed right up to Sunday this year. That's one thing that I will definitely be doing going forward, is turning up on a Friday crew for life. Obviously there Saturday as well. And what I've done in previous years, like some people do if it works for them, is leave mid-afternoon on a Sunday to beat the traffic home and get home for Monday for work or what other commitments there are. I made a decision that I was going to stay the entirety of Sunday, actually see a closing ceremony for a change, and go home on a Monday. And I enjoyed it so much more. That is my advice to you guys, is if you go to TFNation, you're kind of missing out some parts of Sunday. I get it's not going to work for everybody, but for me, staying the entirety of it and waking up, travelling home on a Monday rather than getting home in weekend traffic, it just felt better, a better way of doing things. I will definitely be doing that next year. Right, we're going to do a lot of shout outs, talk throughs, things that I experienced, because I really did want to get round TFNation and do as much as possible. I've made a list as best I can. I've tried very, very, very hard not to leave anybody off. Apologies if I have left anyone off who's come up to me and spoken to me. I really have tried very hard to include everyone that I can. So, starting on the Friday, I got there quite early, and then there was the Robeson panel that started on Friday morning, and you would see Robeson in the Trader Hall later on. It was really cool seeing some of these toys and figures. Toys feels like a stretch of a word, but that's the first time I've seen that Megatron in the flesh that Sixo reviewed on his channel. And wow, that thing is Titan scale. It looks fabulous when you see it in the flesh. As good as it looks, and it does look good, I was really captivated by their Grimlock, and I've seen it once before, but I think that looks pretty special. And it's really cool just hearing what Robeson are doing. Talks about what they're going to do next. There's talks of maybe Constructicons, and we were discussing this in the bar at TFNation at the Hilton. How do you go about robotic combiners? I would like to think, would they just all kind of drive together, attach together, and then somehow stand up? They've got some very clever people working on this stuff. I am not one of them. I would love to see what it is, but seeing Prime, seeing Grimlock, and seeing Megatron, yeah, they are pretty special things. They're pretty wonderful to see, the advancements of technology in front of your eyes and in our fandom. We also then got the Triple Takeover panel, and that was really cool to see. I got to chat to the Triple Takeover guys. I wasn't able to get a photo with J-Swags or Liam, but I did get a quick one with Sixo. I did take this photo of their honorary member, Steve from Stevenage, who's decided to infiltrate the panel. But the panel was pretty cool, going through what is coming up on the channel, and what guests they're going to have on. They're going to have some really big names coming on. So that was quite exciting. Very pleased for them. It was just really cool having a chat with them, just talking all things Transformers like we do. And then bumping into them in the Trader Hall, seeing what their wares were, what they were picking up. And the news that Maz is going to rejoin their channel. And, okay, in a somewhat part-time basis, but it was quite cool to hear that they're going to be, quadruple takeover? It's going to be potentially a four-man band for a time, but that's good news. Good to see Maz back. And yeah, it was J-Swag's first panel, and I thought he did a really good job. I said as much to him afterwards. So that was quite cool. I really enjoyed seeing those guys. And whilst there is definitely other panels on the Friday, there was quite a few panels to go and look at. Friday is really the social day. Everyone arrives, or a majority of people tend to arrive Friday mid-afternoon, early evening, and it's a big let's meet up, let's talk. We haven't seen each other since this time last year. And that was really, really cool. So I hung out with the Transformers The Show guys and extended family that goes to many, many names that I'm going to forget to mention. But also going into meeting Bayverse of Madness for the first time, meeting Brandon. So cool to chat to him. Yeah, he's a great kid. He's got a very bright future ahead of him with his channel. We also had a very nice chat with Spiderfather, with Lee, who I spent a lot of the weekend with Spiderfather, chatting to him. He's really the Robin Hood, I think, of Transformers community, and I'll get into that a bit more later. I had a very nice chat with Chris McFeely. I had a couple of chats with Chris, and yeah, obligatory headlock photo. That actually comes from chatting with Jim Sorensen, who... Jim was great. Couldn't have enough time for you. He was great to talk to about anything and everything. I asked Jim if I could have a photograph with him, to which he replied, only if we have two of them, we'll have a sensible one, and then you have to put me in a headlock, to which then transcribed into Chris's photo of a headlock with me under Chris. So that was quite cool. Had a quick chat with James Roberts and also Simon Furman. I've spoken to them before, but it's always cool to talk to them as well. Again, chatting to the Triple Takeover guys, spoke to Toys R Us as well. Plastic Crack and Despot Quick Shots. That's an easy one to trip over. And having a great chat with those guys. I've spoken to them on Twitter and Instagram before, but actually not the first time meeting Plastic Crack, I've met him before. The first time meeting Phil and Mark in the flesh. And that was really cool, just chatting to them. And it feels very natural. And that really is the sum up of TFNation. It feels very, oh yeah, I'm familiar with you. The only slight problem is you don't always recognise who you're talking to, because a lot of people do carry aliases, and some people did have badges, but you can end up talking to someone for 5 minutes before you twig that you've actually been talking to them for quite some time. But what was very cool for me, I had a load of people coming up and saying, oh, you're Arrowfire. We recognise you from your channel. And that happened quite a bit this weekend. I must admit, I'm quite touched. I didn't think my little channel would reach quite so far and wide for what was a very well-attended weekend. And I had so many people coming up to me saying hello. I thought it was just nice. I'm really what I wanted. I wanted the people to come up and say hi. I wanted to go up and just talk to other people as well, but it's nice when they can clock who I am and they come up, and I'm more than happy to engage and talk to people and just hearing what their interests are. It's very much what the Friday part of TFNation is. It's that big introduction, making new friends, and that's how I've made a lot of my friends now, is from that bar at the Hilton at TFNation. So I didn't stay up as late Friday night as some. Whilst it's very easy to go into the night just talking and reminiscing, Saturday is arguably the business day at TFNation, and this was no exception. You get down there Saturday morning, you get down for your breakfast. You've got to set yourself up for the day, be it whatever you have, a bowl of fruit, bowl of cereal, or a fried breakfast. There's options there. Then you head across to, well, one of two things. Depends where your head is at, I suppose. The opening ceremony is there, which I was not able to attend this year, which was a shame, because the opening ceremonies are very good fun. Really get you energized for the weekend. But you can also, if you had the early access for the Trader Hall, you can begin the long queuing. And queuing was a theme for the weekend, not necessarily in a bad way. But I joined a queue for the Trader Hall. I was with my friend Andy, Robert Kopp too, and his wife Lauren. I was with, who else was I with? Jamie from Transformers The Show, and then a few other friends came along as well. So it was nice to have people to talk to in an otherwise very long queue. You get the first hour if you get the early access. You get an hour to go around the Trader Hall ahead of everybody else. You pay for it, of course. I say that is a must, even now. The queue is very, very long, and it can get very, very busy, particularly with the amount of people that were there this weekend. You need that time to be able to walk, get a lie of the land, and just breathe it in a bit much, even if you don't go in for massive purchases and buy straight away. It's a better way of doing it, I think, because if you go in with the general access, it can be completely overwhelming. It can be a lot to try and trawl through and just move around. But I went in, I did a fair bit of shopping, got a fair few things. But yeah, that was quite cool. I wanted to get out though before what would have been the start of the general access, because that's when David Kay, who was the headline guest, if you like, for TFNation this weekend, that was David Kay's first panel. Now, you should know this as much as anybody. I am a big Beast Wars fan, so this was right up my street. I plucked up the courage to ask David a question in the first panel, which surprisingly nervous when I stood up with a microphone, but I got my question out and David took the time to answer, which was very cool. We also went into Simon Furman's panel, and actually that was quite cool, hearing a lot of Simon's stories. Simon's always good for stories and the history of Transformers, of stuff he's got to tell. That then went into Kat Kavari's panel. Now, Kat is the voice of Twitch from Transformers Earthspark, and it was quite nice hearing someone's views who are very new to the Transformers world. She said herself that she is new to Transformers, and this was her first Transformers convention. So I guess it was a learning experience for her, but it was nice hearing someone who maybe hasn't been in the fandom, and you could tell she was taking it in as much as we all do. It wasn't a David Kay who's got years of experience interacting at conventions and with fans and kind of know where their head's at. It was very fresh for her, and I thought she did a really good job. Earthspark is a very good series. I hope to God it continues. And Twitch is possibly my favourite character of the series, so it was really cool hearing what she had to say. And it was nice to just get that fresh pair of eyes on a look on the fandom. That then led the Trader Hall to close for the day, a bit of a gap, bit of a break, time to go off and get some dinner, and that's when ClubCon started for the evening. I actually think ClubCon this year was near perfect. There was wall-to-wall stuff, starting off with the cosplay. Now, I tweeted about this. ClubCon, the cosplay, it gets better every year, and that's not to dismiss anyone who did it in the previous year. There's been wonderful costumes, but you see it year on year. People are improving. Imaginations and appetites are getting bigger for bigger and better things. I even spoke to a friend of mine, Dom, who dressed up as Brawl in a previous year, and we're talking about how he assembled his costume. It was really cool hearing that. But there's some wonderful, wonderful photos. I tried my best to just grab people in passing for photos, because you never know when you're going to see them again. And someone said to me, when we were in the bar, you better get photos of them quick, because once the panel's over, it's so hot for some of them, particularly if they're doing the mech category in big suits. They're going to want to get out those suits pretty quickly, so get photos of them while you can. And it was just great to see. I tried to get a group shot of everyone at the end, but I couldn't get there quick enough, because it must have been about 40 people. There's so many, and yeah, there was some really good stuff. The crowd were really into it. I was very pleased to see how well attended it was. There was standing room only at some of these panels in the ClubCon at the end. It was really pretty busy. That then went on to the infamous Matrix tests, the Chris McFeely quizzes. We know what Chris's quizzes can be like. Very pleased to hear that potentially in the closing ceremony, just to give you a little jump onto that maybe a secondary quiz could be done on a Sunday for us lesser mortals who can maybe get a headache or two from Chris's quiz. And I'm all for that. Thank you, Chris. That goes on to the charity auction. So much, and all the donations go to Mary's Meals, same as with Toy Foo, or rather it goes to Toy Foo and it all goes to Mary's Meals through there. Some really interesting stuff being signed, being won. A miniature Billy Stripes that went for a very nice sum of money, to which I said to Billy the next day, how does it feel going for £900? That was quite cool. I like the charity auctions. There's a good bit of tension in the room. It's a good bit of build-up, and even one Dinobot poster of all 5 Dinobots framed and signed by Greg Berger there and then. Even Greg bidded on it. That was really cool, just to add to the excitement. That then went on to possibly one of the funniest moments of a TFNation for quite some time, the script reading. I wish to God I recorded it somehow, because it was just brilliant to watch. The script reading was narrated by Chris Finney, who did a brilliant job of just playing that very Winnie the Pooh style narrating story, as it was set in a 100-acre wood, but the characters in the script reading were all the characters that the actors have reprised before. So you had Greg Berger reading for Grimlock, but also Eeyore, which was really nice. You had Kat Kavari being Twitch in the series and Greg Berger being Transformers animated Optimus Prime, as well as Beast Wars Megatron, which did lead to some very lovely heartwarming moments between Eeyore and Beast Wars Megatron in a very Waspinator Megatron kind of vibe, and just Greg Berger being his absolute wonderful self, and all of them just doing a very, very good job. Again, it was packed out. I do wish I recorded it. It was so much fun to see. And after that came to a bit of a somber affair, but a nice one. It was a surprise. It was listed as a surprise, and it was Greg Berger's time to go through really his memoirs. And he said right from the start, you don't have to stay. There's no pressure to stay. The majority of the room did stay. And I feel that was the right thing to do. This man has given plenty of things to the Transformers fandom and has given so many things to TFNation. Greg has been full of praise towards it as well. And he laid bare some of his recent history, which I won't go into on this channel, just out of sheer respect for the man. It was very brave and it was very heartwarming. And I stopped him afterwards in the bar area, in the lobby area, and I said thank you for feeling so comfortable to be able to do that. Dave Wallace, good Dave Wallace, went up at the end of the memoir speech from Greg and gave a very emotional thank you, to which led to an absolute standing ovation for the man. And that felt just, again, so right. It felt the right thing to do. It was a bit of a somber moment, but it was very heartwarming at the same time, very life-affirming. And this man has given a lot to TFNation, and he said as much, is that this is truly a unique group. This is a unique convention. He's done many of them, but he keeps coming back, and we love to see him back. And he couldn't get across the lobby area without people stopping him afterwards. Testament to the man. Even David Kay said in his first panel, he said, if I can only get to that echelon of niceness that Greg Berger is at, I will consider myself very happy. It was a very touching moment, and the standing ovation, again, just felt absolutely right. And he knew the message he wanted to convey, and he conveyed it very, very well. Going on at the end to the Much More Than Meets the Eye, this was the original More Than Meets the Eye series with animation errors touched up, similar to what we have seen in the cinemas recently. That was really cool to see. A lot of work's gone into that and a lot of reconstruction, so that was a nice way to close out the night. People were getting effectively a second movie night, I think. But that was really cool. And then Saturday evening, just spent lots of time talking to people once again, and it was really cool just going around the bar areas and just meeting other people. You do find you can struggle to talk to everyone. You wish to talk to some people more. You're whisked away to talk to someone. But it was nice circling around the bar this time, and just people coming up to you, introducing themselves, saying they recognised you. Talking to people after the panels felt very nice, and a lot of the guests are willing to chat to you. A lot of the staff are willing to chat to you as well. The TFNation staff, it's really cool just to get that bit of time to yourselves. I'm sure the staff don't have time, but they do make the time to talk to you. And of course, there's no early access on a Sunday. It's just doors open. So I went in and grabbed a couple more bits. Saturday is definitely the busier day. You get people coming along just for the Saturday, which is fine. It's understandable. And some stock can be put out again on a Sunday when the traders have time to readjust their stock after the mass carnage of the Saturday morning. So that was cool. I then went across to do a couple of panels back to back. That was interesting. There was the Lost Plots of IDW, which was done by James Roberts and Jack Lawrence. Me being a big fan of IDW, I really enjoyed that. There was a lot to... Like with anything creative, there's a lot that ends up on a cutting room floor, and it was really interesting to hear what they wanted to do with things. Did they have the time to do it? Would they have had the issues to flesh it out and explain it? And it was nice to hear all of the other ideas that they had for a series that was otherwise a really packed out series, and a lot of character growth, and how characters are chosen and how they have to be juggled with other writers and artists and where their character is at any one time. It's almost like a draft pick. for where a character can be in any series at any point, rather than just having Optimus in every continuity all the time. That was really cool. We then went on to the Mapes tapes. The Mapes brothers came up and got some real lost recording media, which was taken straight from the recording booths, voiced by the voice actors, but voice directed by Wally Burr. And whilst it was really interesting hearing some of this lost media, if you like, it was very interesting hearing the 4 auditions for Wheelie and what Wheelie could have sounded like. And you just had an image of the voice actor, and then you would hear the sound clip, and some of the images did not match the voices, not what you would think, but so interesting to hear. The one thing that I really remember was the grunting noises from Sea Spray in his Spotlight episode in the G1 cartoon, and I just thought, oh, that sounds like something else. Greg Berger went and did another panel after that, and just after that went into... Well, it was supposed to be David Kaye's second panel, but it was at that point that it was the Legends Pass, the private signings, and that queue went quite long. So as such, the Constructicon panel was brought forward ahead of David's panel. And that's the first time I've ever attended it. Again, I normally leave by this point, but I attended that. And that's when you had really the TFN core group, if you like. A lot of the people putting it all together. You obviously had Andrew Turnbull, you had David Wallace, you had, apologies, one of the Mapes brothers, I cannot remember. Sorry about that. You had Billy Stripes, and of course Sarah with the adorable dog, which took up most of the attention. Nellie, I believe, was the name of the dog. I can remember the name of the dog. What does that say about me? And that was just really cool, just hearing what people were having to ask, and it's questions that have been asked before, but I don't think there's any harm in asking the questions. One thing I'll say from my chats with Billy and Dave and other people involved in TFN, they can be quite an open book, and they will tell you some of these things. And I think some of these things are really good to hear, because whilst there's 1,800 people there, we don't know enough about it. We don't know enough about what goes on behind the scene, travel disruption, logistics, taking down sets, and how much time that must take. Where does it all get stored? So we're talking about, will you move hotels? Will you do this? Will you get this guest? There's so much that we don't see, and I think the things like the Constructicon at the end of it were really useful to give us just a little bit of insight into what goes on, and I do think we've only scratched the surface of that information. It then went on to David Kaye's panel, and again I got a question in. I got a bit more confident this time, and I asked the question around which voice actor did he enjoy working with and watching them perform, and he was listing some of the names there. But it was really cool. That was arguably a better panel, because I think a lot of people stayed and watched that, and it did tie into the closing ceremony. There was a lot talked about. Dave Wallace did a very good question, which I quite like, was, well, tell us about yourself. What are your interests? What are you into? And I was quite glad that it wasn't just, let's talk to you about Transformers all the time. We got to hear about Dave as a person and what his interests were, and just feels that bit more homely. And he did a nice little video of the crowd behind him. And again, it was standing room only. That was very nice. Closing ceremony was very good. The TFN crew were very quick to give us a round of applause. And I want to take a moment to say, no, you've got to take a pat on the back here. I think they did put on the best show. I think there was travel disruptions, severe travel disruptions. I know the likes of Nick Roach had a nightmare time getting there. They do so much, and it must be a better part of a year getting the next year ready. They have no time off, and I feel for them, but in a really good way. I think what they managed to put together, Europe's largest Transformers convention with the biggest attendance ever, and I have no doubt that number will grow again for next year. I have no doubt we'll clear 2,000 next year. Did get confirmed, as we normally do, they will be back for next year at TFNation, back at the Hilton for 2025. But before that, we have a mini-con at the end of November in Reading. So we're coming south at last, thank God. We're going to do a mini-con. I haven't done a mini-con before, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to seeing what the one-day events are like, and it does tide us over a little bit until August the following year. Toy Fu were also brought on stage, and this was a real Heartwarming moment. The entire crew of Toy Foo were brought on stage, and Nick was given a microphone, bringing out a piece of paper to talk how much money they had managed to raise, with a daily goal, a weekend goal, and also a lifetime goal for what they intended to raise for Mary's Meals. So I've taken a tweet from Toy Foo's website because I want to get these figures right, so I'll read it out. It's all done in the course of the weekend at various different points, but on the sales on the tables, Toy Foo took £43,000 on sales alone, which is unbelievably obscene. Nearly 50,000. That's crazy. 6,400 raised from the TFN auctions of various items there. I was there for that. That was really close. That was really good. And close to 3,000 in TM UK Zine and raffle ticket sales. Mary's Meals will receive over £35,000 from this event alone, but Toy Foo's lifetime total towards Mary's Meals is a sum of £216,600. That is just bonkers, and it's so good. This is making sure that children get meals around the world, a very well-deserved charity. And what an amount raised. I mean, 40,000 on table sales alone. That is a huge number. That's great. That's so good. Again, the spirit of TFNation. Again, the spirit of what people can do, what a fandom can do when it comes together. And like I said for TFNation, Toy Foo, you got to pat yourselves on the back for that. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people donating. There's a lot of people purchasing. There's a lot of people promoting. There's a lot of people working. There's so much involved. A big, well-oiled machine. And TFN is a great place to do it. And yeah, I cannot sing praises highly enough. And that's where it finished. My first experience of a Sunday night at TFNation. And I didn't really know what to expect, but it was really quite cool. You had a lot of the crew, a lot of the voice actors all shutting down and enjoying it for themselves. They were allowed to enjoy a Sunday evening. And it was great talking to the likes of Dave Wallace, Grace, talking to Billy, talking to David Kay, who was looking quite keen for a beer by that point. I think he'd done his work. Bumping into Greg Berger, talking to a lot of the TFN crew, talking a lot of the YouTubers and other friends that I've made there. Sunday night was a very good night, and I do believe that staying that Sunday night, really maximising, no pun intended, your TFN experience was so cool. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will be doing it that way next year. Okay, well, I've had your attention long enough. Should we go through a haul of what I picked up there? So first off is not a purchase, but is something that I arranged. Now, for some people who will know, in a review video I did so long ago, I have got the Geiger Power Dinobots. I have got all 5 of them. I love them. They're a staple of my collection. But I got one of them in a different colour scheme to the rest. I had Snarl in the metallic paint scheme, and I had all of the others in the chrome. And it bothered me. It sent my OCD to overdrive that I had arguably the prettiest figure in chrome was not in my collection because of all those gold spikes. It was still a nice paint scheme, but it didn't match. And some unlikely hero came to my rescue. That was a fellow photographer, if I class myself as a photographer, Despot Quickshots, who I talked to quite a lot, and of course I met at the convention as well. We messaged each other a few weeks or months prior and said, oh, I really wish I could get one. It means I have to buy it to complete the collection, and it's a bit of a pain to have to spend the money again when I've already got a figure. And he suggested to me, I don't mind, I'm not particularly precious, how about we do a straight swap? And so finally, I have a chrome Snarl. And my God, is he gorgeous. This is what the chrome paint scheme was for. Look at that. I don't want to transform, he just looks brilliant. And I've taken a quick photo with his other chrome figures. I have now got a full chrome set, and just done by the sheer good nature and good heart of a fellow Transformers collector who, again, came to TFN. I'm so pleased about that. I really am. I thought it would have been a real mission and a real pig to have to sort this out. And now I've got all 5 of them. I'm so pleased. Thank you very much, Mark. You're an absolute star. I then went off and saw my good friends at Primetime Toys and said hello to all the people working there. It was great to see them, and they did very well. I had a very good positioning as well in the trader hall. And I picked up Fans Toys. Swerve Diverge. I will probably do a video on him. I will probably do a review. I'm not so keen about, say, the G1 look of it, but I loved him in IDW, and I thought, well, I'll put you on my IDW shelf. I think he looks quite cool. I haven't taken him out of the box, as you can see. I will probably do a video on him, but thank you very much, Primetime Toys. As always, I'll put the links to the vendors in the description below. Do go and check out Primetime Toys. They've got a couple of codes to use, Welcome 10 and Power Up 10 for 10% off your first order. Thank you very much, guys. One I missed out before I went into the trader hall, my good friend Peter, the beloved Beast Wars fan that he is, did decide to give me a orange tarantulas. It was a part of a 4-pack set, which I'll be honest, not a lot of people wanted, and with him being the huge Beast Wars fan that he is, said, I don't need this in my collection, you need it. In other words, you have it. So I've got this. It's a remold of the tarantulas figure, which I've already got. But it does look quite cool. I do like the orange, actually, and I particularly like the head sculpt that comes with it. So, yeah, I've got another spider for the collection. Just got to find out where that's going to go. Thank you very much, Pete. Love you. Arguably my biggest purchase at TFN. I didn't know this was Toifu, but it was Toifu. It was a very corner of their stand that I approached from a different side, so I didn't see the signage. I got MMC Helix, the DJD team, to which I have Tarn. I've never been too keen to get the set. Well, I say I've never been keen. I have and I haven't. I got Tarn. I was always happy with Tarn, but I did like the look of this. So this was here. This was unboxed, and it was a fair price, and obviously Toifu. But I'm a sucker for a big bot. I really don't know where this guy's going to go. He's quite large. He's got to be up there on Dinobot size, but he's got to go with Tarn. But my IDW shelf is fit to bursting, so I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I really like him. He's really cool. I then stopped off at In Demand Toys. I got Legacy Bulkhead because I've never had him and I've always kind of wanted him. I like the look of his alt mode. I have no affection for the character as such, but I do just quite like the look of the military-esque vehicle mode. I think that looks quite cool. And he's got good reviews anyway. I'm just a bit late to the party, but I do like him. And I did pick up Origins Bumblebee. Really because I got Origins Wheeljack recently and I thought, well, I've got to have him. He's very small, very tiny, but I've really got him just to keep him in his little flying disc mode. That's quite cool. I like that. Got an Earthrise Quintesson because I've never had one. And you can surprisingly hard time finding one of these. And there was 2 of them there. I got this from In Demand as well. It was just a case of having it because I haven't got one. It will do good for photographs. So yeah, nice one to have that I'm backtracking on to get. Went over to Kapow Toys and I got MMC Optus Prominion. I keep wanting to change that name to Prominiacron or whatever, but it's a War Within style Optus Pexus. Now I have already got Optus Pexus, he's just there actually. So I kept telling myself I don't need another one, but I've seen photos of the likes of Plastic Crack, the damn enablers, and I'm like, oh no, it does look quite cool. So now I've got 2 versions of the same figure. And I got him for a very nice price considering how much you can go for online. Now this next one I've been shopping at for years and I've never known the name of it. It's bothered me a little bit because I've bought off them for years and they've got some very good third-party stuff and spoke to the guy. But I was very pleased to work out this was Max and Me Toys. Well, Max and Me loves toys, I should say. I'll put a link to their eBay page in the description below because they don't have a store like, say, Primetime or Kapow or In Demand do. So you can go and check them out there. They had some very nice stuff. Of course, there was one thing I wanted which they sold pretty early on, but there's some good things there. And the chap who worked there recognised me from YouTube, which was lovely. I haven't had that in the trader hall other than obviously the likes of Primetime, who I'm friends with, but he actually recognised me from YouTube, which was very cool. And I picked up the KO version, 4th party of the Takara Skywarp Jetfire. Skyfire. He's surprisingly cool. He's really, really, really big. Comes with all of his accessories. I was very umming and ahhing about it because I've still got the Siege Jetfire, the Commander class, and I was very happy with it. But getting him in hand, he's good. He's very, very hefty for a Takara masterpiece. Very, very hefty. I'm going to try and store him in jet mode, but really did love meeting them. Really did love talking to him. It was so nice to be recognised by a trader when you think of all the people that come up to them. That was a really nice moment for me. So yeah, as I say, I've been purchasing off him for years, so I've just continued to do so, especially now. I then went over to another friend of mine, Rohan's Corner. Rohan had a lot of nice wares for sale, but something caught my eye as I was just about to leave. We're back on Predacons. Unique Toys Predacons. Not the best set, if I'm honest, in as much as I don't think that comes as a surprise. It's an older set, it's a smaller set. But as you can possibly see behind me, I'm a bit of a Predacon fan. I'm certainly a bit of a Razorclaw fan. Where's Divebomb gone? He's here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Yeah, I was quite pleased with that, and it was purchasing off a friend, which is always nice to do so. This is now, I think, the 5th or 6th Razorclaw of my collection. But it was nice to get hold of that. I've got to work out where these guys are going to go, but thank you very much, Rohan. You had some very nice stuff there. Thank you for adding another one to the collection. I also want to point out I was given a couple of stickers for the weekend, so I got a nice Prime there, as well as a Predaking sticker. Yay, I've got to find somewhere to put these now. I'll probably stick them on a lunchbox or something. And there was another vendor towards the back, and I didn't catch the name. I'm kicking myself, but there was some very nice stuff there, ranging from absolutely everything. I could have spent a fair bit of money there. Some older third-party stuff that I was very, very tempted with. But one thing did catch my eye, and I was done a deal for a very nice price. Boxed Perfect Effects Warden IDW Fortress Maximus. I've wanted this for a while. With MMC releasing theirs to come out, their previously failed crowdfunding, I thought, oh, I do like MMC, maybe I'll wait. But that figure's going to be very large, and that could be at their overlord price, which could easily be about £220, £250. It's a lot of money. This was not that. I've always liked this kind of armory style, this massive gun, these big tank treads. It comes with a stack, comes with loads of stuff. Considering what I paid for it. And he turns into the head, which fits on the original Titan's Return. No, it's not Titan's Return, original G1. I wish it fits on Titan's Return. That would be quite cool. Not that I need it anyway. But I saw it and I wanted it. I could have spent a lot more money. That was quite cool. There was another Predaking there that I was tempted, but I was spending a fair bit of money by this point anyway. And as far as purchases go, that was it. But that wasn't the end of it. That's something I've left to the end that could not sum up TFN anymore if it tried. So a good friend of mine, you'll know him as well, Spiderfather on social media, who I've dubbed the Robin Hood of our little community, does love to give away little freebies. And I've had freebies off him for the last couple of years. Given I'm a Beast Wars fan, I've got a tiny little Cheetor. I've also got a tiny little Lockdown figure from last year. So Lee said to me, I've got a little present for you at TFN. And I thought, okay, I've got another little thing, another little toy, which is greatly received, and I was very, very happy with it. But I wasn't prepared for this. I really was not. Because when I turned up in the bar on Friday, I got this handed to me straight away. Beast Wars 2nd, I believe, Gigastorm. Or Gigastorm. It's the Triptychon mold from G1, and for my mind it's going to be Triptychon. It's actually the only Triptychon I've got, but with some redeco to be more Beast Wars orientated. Now this is an era of Beast Wars I'm not too au fait with, but I'm a Beast Wars fan nevertheless. To be handed this is just staggering. The stuff he gets is staggering. How does he find half the things? It's brilliant. I've got to try and work the electrics on it. Sorry, Lee, I haven't got that far yet, but I will do. I'm fully intending on doing so. Got a lovely Predacon symbol just under there. You can just about see it in silver. But it's the thought of it. To be given something like this, because he knows I'm a big Beast Wars fan, but that is the spirit of TFN. But that's not all he did in his Robin Hood ways. So I wasn't able to queue up in the trader hall for an autograph from David Kay, which I was a little bit sad about, something I would have liked. I bumped into Spiderfather in another queue who said to me, well, I've got the Legend Pass. I'm going to go and see him once the trader hall closes anyway. Why don't you give me what you want signed and I'll get it signed? To which I said, oh, that would be great, thank you. I've got a book. The IDW Beast Wars comic series that was released in 3 particular volumes, also individually as well. There's a page on here with Beast Wars Megatron that I just love for him to put his signature against. It didn't need to be anything more than that. I didn't want to put Spiderfather out of his way to do so. He said, leave it with me, I'll get something done for you. And sure enough, he did. But he went a bit further. To which it says, to Ian, terrorise David Kay. Which I'm absolutely made up to bits about. This book as well also contains Gary Chalk's signature from TFN before, which I got him to sign for Optimus Primal. So I got a nice little scrapbook on the go now. That was lovely for me. But that was just the heart of TFNation. That was Lee being an absolute superstar, knowing how big a fan of Beast Wars that I am. And this really was the big event for me. I was able to stand up and ask a couple of questions of David Kay, an actor who I'm very fond of. And I thought, okay, I've been given toys. I've been recognised from my YouTube channel. I've got a signature, something signed directly to me from David Kay. It can't get any better, surely. And I thought, when David Kay finished his panel and it was a closing ceremony, I thought that would be it. But with the help of a very, very good friend of mine, I was able to go and get a photograph with David Kay, a couple of photographs actually, by the person who knows that I'm really a fan of David Kay and Beast Wars in general, knew what it meant to me. I'm just so made up of this. I've obviously got it on screen. And for me, that couldn't have been any better. I've got photographs, I've got toys, I've got signed memorabilia. I've witnessed some really heartfelt moments. And this is why I say, maybe it's rose-tinted view for me, but this was the best TFN. I spoke to so many people. I've had people recognising me who are way ahead of me in terms of subscribers or status. When you're recognised by other people in the fandom who even recognise you from TFNs from before, it's just the community where you want to be. Is it any wonder that this was their most attended convention? Is it any wonder that it's only getting bigger? And it shows the work that the Billy and the other guys are putting in every year to make it the best convention possible for people to come far and wide to attend. Okay, I think I've rabbited on enough. I wanted to do this. I wanted it to be a special video because to me, there's a lot to go through. I think I've got absolutely everything covered. I don't think I've left off anything in pickup. I'm so sorry if I've left off anyone's name who's come up to me and talked to me. I've got over 370 photographs from the event, some great cosplaying, just talking to people, and the blues are kicking in now. Here I am recording on the Tuesday after, and the blues are hitting hard. It's a long way away to the next one, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. Thank you, TFNation. Please do give yourselves a pat on the back for what you've done. Please take pride in what you've done. Don't give us necessarily the plaudits for making the convention great. If there's no you guys putting this convention together, then there's nothing for us to enjoy. It starts with you. Thank you very much everyone for watching. Sorry this might be a long video. I really just wanted to get a few points out. We're going to get back to reviews very soon. I've got a Rhinox to review, third Beast Wars review on a trot. Sorry about that. I've got many other things I want to do. Got a couple of guests coming on the channel as well. So a lot to stick around for. And I hope to see you soon. Well, thanks for watching. And as always, I will see you on the next one.